When talking about the world's craziest car collections, most people think of tech billionaires or oil tycoons. But there is one name that surprises everyone. Jay Leno, a man who stood on a television stage every night, yet owns a garage that even the ultra-wealthy would envy. And what's special is that he doesn't collect easy-to-buy cars, but machines that are nearly impossible to find on the market. Some were forgotten for decades before suddenly becoming multi-million-dollar treasures. Some are the only version in existence, and most notably, the most expensive car in his collection is valued at over $30 million. But the story behind it is even crazier than that number. So what makes these cars so special? And is the car you think is the most expensive really in the top spot? Let's start with the least shocking names, because as we go, things will only get more unbelievable. Ranked first on this list is the 1913 Mercer Type 35J, a machine from an era when speed was still something nearly insane to humans. But what makes this car special isn't just its ability to reach 100 miles per hour, but also the story behind the Mercer brand, a car maker that once dominated American racetracks with dozens of wins in a single year, only to collapse tragically when one of the company's key figures died on the Titanic. And from then on, Mercer gradually faded from history, leaving the remaining cars as rare legacies of a lost era. It is this combination of speed, history, and tragedy that makes the Mercer Type 35J worth millions today. But if you think a car over 100 years old is impressive enough, the next one in this collection tells a completely different story. Next is the 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, a supercar many call the last analog supercar because it has almost no electronic assistance systems, no traction control, no automatic transmission, nothing to make it easy to drive. And that's exactly what made the Carrera GT one of the hardest cars to drive ever produced, even being linked to several famous accidents. But it's that very danger that makes it one of the most sought-after cars in the world. Jay Leno bought this car brand new and still drives it regularly today, something very few owners dare to do. And as the value of the Carrera GT has soared to around $2 million, it's not just a car, but a symbol of a time when pure driving experience was still paramount. But interestingly, despite being much more modern, this car still can't match the luxury of an icon from nearly a century ago. Ranked next is the 1932 Duesenberg S.J. Murphy convertible, a car born during the Great Depression when the global economy was in a severe crisis. Yet amazingly, there were still people willing to spend a fortune to own such a luxury machine. Duesenberg was then considered the pinnacle of the American auto industry, and the supercharged SJ version was even more powerful than anything else of its time, acting not just as transportation, but as a statement of power and status. With extremely limited production, every S.J. Murphy convertible today is seen as a work of art worth millions. But if you think vintage cars are rare, the next one brings a story that is both iconic and full of drama. That would be the 1967 Lamborghini Miura, the car considered the world's first supercar with its mid-engine design, an idea that completely changed the automotive industry. But what makes Jay Leno's Miura special isn't just the design or performance, but also its previous owner, the legendary singer Dean Martin. However, the story doesn't end there, because this car was once misused by Dean Martin's son to the point of completely destroying the engine, leaving it almost a worthless shell. But later, Jay Leno restored the mechanical parts while keeping the old exterior, which many found strange. But in reality, it significantly increased the car's value because it retained the traces of time and history. And now the Miura has become one of the most hunted Lamborghinis, valued at over $2.5 million. But even an icon like the Miura isn't the most incredible car on this list. Next is the 1931 Bugatti Type 51, a Grand Prix racing car carrying the DNA of legendary speed machines created by Ettore Bugatti during the company's golden age. The Type 51 was not only fast, but also designed to be more durable than previous models, a decision that went against the speed at all costs philosophy of many racing brands at the time. And this is what made it one of the most balanced cars between performance and reliability. With extremely limited numbers, the surviving Type 51s today almost never appear on the market, and their value can reach around $3 million. But if you think a vintage race car is the peak, The next one proves that sometimes perfection lies not in speed, but in design. That is the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, one of the most beautiful cars ever created, famous for its iconic gull-wing door design. But what makes Jay Leno's 300 SL special lies in its condition. This car was once forgotten in the desert, with paint peeling and cracking over time. Instead of a full restoration, Jay Leno only fixed the mechanicals and kept the aged look, a decision that seemingly would lower the value but actually made it more unique because it tells a story that no other car can tell. And it is that imperfection that makes the value of this car potentially reach $7 to $9 million. But even though the 300 SL is an icon, it still can't compare to the next car, a machine that redefined the supercar. That would be the 1994 McLaren F1, the car many consider the greatest supercar of all time, with its unique center driving position, powerful V12 engine, and top speed of over 200 miles per hour. But what makes this car special is not just the performance, but its design philosophy. Everything was optimized for the perfect driving experience. And though the value of the McLaren F1 has risen to around $20 million, Jay Leno doesn't treat it as a museum piece and still drives it regularly on the road, creating an interesting contrast between value and usage, since most other F1s are kept hidden in garages. But if you think that's the peak, the final car on this list will make you reconsider. Taking the #1 spot is the 1934 Duesenberg Walker Coupe, a one-of-a-kind car in the world, custom-built for a specific client with aerodynamic styling decades ahead of its time. This car was forgotten in a warehouse for many years before Jay Leno found and restored it to its original condition. And since it is the only one in existence, there are almost no sales to compare it to. But experts estimate its value could reach $20 to $30 million, making it the most expensive car in Jay Leno's entire collection. But what truly makes it special isn't the value, but the story of how a forgotten machine could become a priceless treasure. And that is what makes this whole collection so fascinating. So out of all those cars, which one impressed you the most? A speed legend, a design icon, or a unique machine? Leave your thoughts below. And if you want to explore more fascinating stories about top-tier car collections, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next videos.